Satori Reader is an app and website that provides reading and listening material that's meant to help you comprehend Japanese better and better so that you can move on to native material as fast as possible. I recently had the chance to sit down with the creator of Satori Reader, Brian Rak. We talked about lots of different things in the interview, from learning Japanese to teaching Japanese and everything in between, but in the clips in this video, we get to learn a little bit more about Brian himself, how long he's been studying Japanese, what got him to teaching Japanese, and what a day in his life is like. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let us know if you have any questions down in the comments, or just say hi. Comments really help, as does the like button, so please smash that and leave a comment just to let us know you're watching. Without further ado, let's get started. I have a question for you that's been sort of bugging me a little bit. I've been thinking about this for a little bit, and recently when we were talking about the big revamp on the review system on Satori Reader, which we're going to talk about a lot more later, you mentioned that you're pretty much the main developer on Satori Reader. And I'm assuming that you write most of the grammar explanations on Satori Reader, and you guys release like 3 articles per week, I believe?
We do, yeah.
And you answer grammar questions on like all of your, I think you have nearly 1,000 episodes now? Is it over 1,000?
Not quite, yeah. I think we're about 825, something like that right now.
Okay, so you're answering questions on all of those, super detailed. I've seen like page-long responses of well thought out grammar responses on comments in the various episodes, and there's questions on all of the episodes. And based on the interview on Satori Reader of your studio, you did like an interview on your YouTube channel in the studio when you were recording the voiceovers.
Right.
You seem to be pretty involved with that as well, and you also sometimes make YouTube videos on YouTube on the Satori Reader channel.
Try to,
so it seems
yeah.
like you're involved in all of the steps from start to finish. And my question for you is, how do you find time to sleep?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of hats to wear, and sometimes it does feel pretty overwhelming.
Yeah.
But thankfully, it's not just me. We do have a really amazing team of other people who are contributing behind the scenes and helping to grease the wheels for me. In some aspects, and then completely just do other parts of the content production without really that much of my input for certain phases. So yeah, I mean, I definitely try to be involved as much as I can, because it's my baby, and I just want to have it be a great product. But also, it's important to delegate and let other people shine where they have things to contribute that you can't, and you're gonna have them have a much better product if you empower people to do what they do the best. So
absolutely. So how many years ago was it that you started? The first thing that you guys did was Human Japanese, right? The first Human Japanese.
Yeah.
How many years ago was that?
I actually started writing the first version of Human Japanese in 1999.
Wow.
Yeah, okay. It's been a while.
Yeah. What sort of inspired you to write it?
I went to Japan as an exchange student when I was 17, and while I was there, I was studying Japanese really hard. My primary goal was to learn Japanese in a year,
Right.
And it was really exciting to make progress, and then at the same time you would come up against these walls. I've always felt my progress was kind of like on this wave kind of graph, right?
I know what you're talking about.
You know what I mean? There are weeks when you feel like just everything is going straight in.
I know everything, and then
exactly. Yeah, and it was during that time that I found this book by a guy named Jay Rubin. It's called Making Sense of Japanese, and it used to be called Gone Fishin'. Really cool name, which apparently no one understood.
Right.
But basically, he breaks down grammar points, things that tend to feel tricky for people, in the most humorous way you can imagine. I mean, I remember literally reading his book, standing on the train, coming home from the library the day I discovered it, and just laughing out loud at the sheer joy of finally getting something, that had eluded.
Yeah, right. That's awesome.
Yeah, and so I really fell in love with that book, and I had always enjoyed teaching myself, and that kind of planted the seed in me that I wish that I could kind of write a book like that would teach Japanese from square one, the way
Right.
that Jay Rubin might have approached it if he were going to do so. Because his book basically starts from the assumption that you really already understand the basics and you kind of need some fine tuning here and there. So yeah, that was really, I'd say, the point where I really started thinking seriously about trying to do something like that myself.
That's so cool, because like so many grammar books they're just the rules, right? There's nothing creative about it, or it can be very difficult for lots of different minds to pick up on some of those, I don't know, mathematical equations and stuff, and the language isn't always great. So I've never heard of that book you mentioned, but I'll have to check it out.
Oh my gosh, yeah, definitely check it out. It's great. You won't. It's
That's
like
cool.
It's like a $10 book or something, but it's like the best $10 you'll ever spend.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
Well, it's really driven by our publishing schedule. So there's three kind of big hats that I wear, just besides the ordinary admin stuff of running a small company. And those are content production, customer support, and programming. So the content production is just the thing that has to happen, like, on a schedule, because we have 3 new episodes going out every week.
Right.
And so into that bucket kind of goes all of that stuff that we talked about earlier. And so I'm just I'm looking at the schedule, seeing what's coming up and seeing which, pieces need to be pushed forward in order to make sure there's stuff popping out the other side
Right.
where it needs to.
Yeah.
And then another one that's sort of a thing that I just kind of have to do is the customer support, mostly in the form of the comments, because those really they come in a lot. So twice a week, usually Mondays and usually Thursdays, I will spend anywhere from 4 to 6 hours each time just solid responding to people's comments. Wow. So it is.
They appreciate it. They appreciate it.
Thank you.
I mentioned on my Discord, I said, does anyone have any grammar questions, is what I asked. And one of the first responses was, but they answer my questions so fast when I comment on the stories. Like, I'm good at the moment, is what they said. So very appreciative, I think.
Wow. Oh, cool. I'm glad that they think that's fast. I was a little worried because sometimes, there'll be 4 or 5 days, between when they ask the question and when we reply. But
they seem to be happy with it.
Yeah, it's one of the most challenging, but also one of the most rewarding parts of it for me, because it's where, there's that direct contact with the students.
Right.
I mean, I try to create contact when I'm writing the notes, but it's sort of one way, right?
Yeah, of course.
But in those comments, getting that connection there where they can feel that I understood what they were asking, or sometimes they ask one thing, but I think they're really asking something else. I try to get to what they're really getting at.
Yeah.
And so that's really, it's awesome when I feel like there's a connection there with the customer. And then the other big hat is programming. And between the first two hats, sometimes there's not a lot of time left. So that's the one that unfortunately tends to kind of get pushed into the corner a little
understandable.
bit. Yeah, I try to, my typical pattern is I'll try to work really hard and kind of create like a budget where my slate is basically clean for like a couple weeks. I still have to do the discuss comments without fail every week. But if I can kind of, get a mostly clear slate, for 3 weeks, I can try to get the next feature.
I think a lot of what we've talked about will be very valuable for the people who are listening. I hope it was, and just thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
Well, likewise.
I'm really glad we finally got to actually meet each other, despite talking for quite a few months now.
Yeah, it was great, and I would love to do it again sometime.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think you're doing such a great service to the Japanese learner community out there with your videos and everything. It's great stuff. So keep it up.
Thank you. You too. I'm going to be watching Satori Reader. I'm just going to be watching it because I'm really excited about it, and I've been enjoying it for quite a while now, and I can't wait to see where you guys take it.
Thank you.
Thank you.